All right, things coming up this week. We're going to be dynoing the 57 gasser motor for EJ, Tom Bailey, EJ's, and what they drove at 6 Summer. And Cletus McFarland said, hey man, I want you to put that engine on the dyno, run it NA, because I want to see, let's prove it all out that there's no material in the engine when you engine dyno it. Gonna dyno that on the dyno NA this week. So, but first, you guys see this crazy torque converter stuff I'm still dealing with. I got Ashley, she's a new girl. I got her taking my transmission out, and I'll show you some stuff there because we're gonna do some more changes, and I need to look at this converter and probably change the stator, which means we gotta take transmission out to change stator anyway. So basically, I got Ashley is gonna start taking all this transmission out for me because I have got to go to work on people's stuff and junk. Dewey has just got done packaging up that broken drive shaft out of the dyno, going to somebody in Minnesota. Hang on. Oh, that's scary. So I have these stators, other parts we're going to be changing, trying to figure out exactly what's going on. At least, this is definitely hotter. This is definitely hotter. This is straight out black. This is purple, a little straw brown. I've had some people say that obviously it's impossible for oil to get that hot and your sensors are lying to you. Then what makes it turn this color? It has to be this hot in order to turn this color. Just, it is what it is. I mean, why? So yes, the numbers are correct. K-type thermocouples do go to 2200 degrees. There are lesser ones also, and that's the fluid out of it. It's not, the fluid is not burnt yet, but that's because it's $40 a quart fluid. So what's going on there when it's cavitating and builds all that heat? Astronomical, but it's not as bad as this one. So, and I knew that. We knew that. Marty said that, Neil Chance Converter said that this had to have been 900 degrees to turn this color. This one is definitely more purple. I know because we measured it. It was 600 plus degrees of oil temperature right here. So we're still going to figure out what's going on, but this is how it works. I'm the only person that ever shows you how we go through things. If there is any one of these professional teams, they're just not showing you everything. They're going through this stuff all the time. I've talked to the pro mod guys, and the pro mod guys, especially in blower cars, are changing different weight oils in between rounds. Change the oil in the transmission to get a different weight different weight oil to get 100 RPM. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that goes on to make these things work, and we're just figuring it out. There's something still going on, and it was just driving through it like a mofo. So I have tighter stators. It has a 35 pump cover, big bore 35 pump cover. Shouldn't quite be doing that, so we're going to I'm going to tear this apart with Marty Chance on FaceTime to see if I put something together wrong, see if something's going on, and then we're going to actually be fitting it on the transmission to see exactly where things line up apart, so you can actually see where the shafts intersect and where it sticks into the stator, the diode, the turbine cover. A lot of neat stuff. Okay, so I told you that we were going to tear this converter apart. I'm waiting for Marty Chance to get on FaceTime with me because he wants to watch me do this live. And so I'm going to take the bell housing off of the transmission because we're going to assemble the torque converter on the shafts to measure and see exhaust port flow, blah, 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 blah. How something that could possibly be making a hydraulic wedge in there that causes it to not flow properly, etc., etc. So we'll take this bell housing off and just give you an update of what's going on. And I'm just waiting for Marty Chance to jump in and get with me here. So the reason we're taking this off is because that way it's just easier to see. So I know exactly how far the torque converter butts up, goes all the way in and butts up against the pump, I think it is. And I measured exactly because we're making sure this is all perfect. It is literally at 110 thousandths all the way back to my flex plate. So it is 110. So we can measure that and then simulate that exact thing, one piece at a time. There we go. Kind of trying to do this early in the morning too, because I am super busy. That's why I'm not even tearing my own engine apart right now, because I'm working on other stuff, but I need to do this real quickly to just verify this out, and so I can get parts coming or change things or figure out how we're gonna continue to proceed. But if you take a look at this, so somehow oil goes back through in between these two shafts. That's part of the exhaust, something or another, I don't know. This is, if you look at the lines here, and I mean, it's possible that this little jumper line that I made is partially restrictive. I mean, there could be some problems with something there, but I think we're tending to think that maybe something got stuck in this passage. So if you look over here, I'll take these lines off. This is for the external cooler, the little fan cooler stuff. And here's my temperature gauge on the outlet of the converter. So fluid comes from the transmission into the converter, comes back out the converter, and goes through this line to a cooler, or just wraps right back around. Now these are a sweeping 90, they're not a hard 90, unless that line is total crap. Now this is the line that came loose. It was a quick temporary line, and I should have made a hard line. I'm going to make a hard line that just goes from here to there and just fits correctly and would never come loose. So we'll take this off, and we might be thinking that if the converter is correct, and you see that oil, you see that was 600 degree oil, and it does have just a little bit of smell to it, but it's still green, although it went in purple, which is interesting. It used to be purple, now it's green. These are all control valves for dumps. Main dump and a solenoid operated dump. Got all their transmission oil everywhere. But I mean, it has a little bit of smell to it, but it is amazingly good oil, but you need to be figuring all this out, obviously. Thinking there might be a piece of material, so stuff comes out this way, but then goes back in the transmission through here. I don't know what all the passages look like inside the transmission, but I don't know. We're thinking there could be something there, or something's going on. Not sure yet. But obviously the torque converter, let me grab a drain pan real quick. Drain some fluid. All right, so how this goes on. Now this is obvious for a lot of people, but for a lot of people it's not. So this all slides in there and starts engaging. Now, if it's not in correctly, as in there's no, what you have to have is you need, when this transmission is in and bolted up to the engine, there has to be clearance in between the torque converter where it bolts on and the flywheel. There also has to be clearance between your center hub right there. This cannot be touching the crane. Nothing can be forcibly hitting the crankshaft. There was not. I've done this part I've done a million times, correct everybody on. I know how to do all this part. It was in there correctly. Because when it's not, it is instantaneous destruction, but real destruction. Sometimes it's hard to get these things up in there. There we go. And you hear how it went clunk, clunk? It went in both places. Okay, so we have this torque converter all the way up in there. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to take this whole thing apart so you can see the shaft sticking through, and so we can measure everything that's all there as soon as Marty jumps online with us here. So obviously we know that something is happening where oil is cavitating inside the converter, which is making it excessively hot. But I do know that we did change something when I made that hole bigger underneath the easy stage. But it also, and it isn't supposed to, but it did make my spool up harder and slower. So we're just gonna be figuring out what's going on. So what we're gonna do is, this thing is all the way in. You heard it hit 2 clunks, and then I'll measure this up to where we just move this thing 110 thousandths when everything's on, or in. So it just comes out 110 thousandths. We'll get a measuring scale or something like that, caliper. But that's how this whole thing goes together and is in the converter. Flywheel's right here, crankshaft's right there. So this is where all of the magic or all the problems are happening.
Oh. Okay, so you got this big loop. Now we're exhausting fluid out of here. So what this does...
I can tell you that blowing through it, I can tell that there's a little bit of a difference. That it's harder to blow through this one. So maybe that's it. It's not like blocked, but it definitely feels like I can sense a resistance in it trying to blow through it, you know?
If you had one extra shim, I'd have you lock it together with one extra shim, see if the two bolt together rings touch, or if they don't touch. If they don't touch, then it didn't balloon it any. I just want to see if I got hot ballooned in.
Okay, here's 32 thousandths.
Perfect.
Does it just need one, or you want me to put 2 in there?
Oh, that'll be fine, just like that.
Yeah, okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you.
Everybody, see ya.
Yep, bye. All right, so what you saw there, Marty was walking me through the whole thing, making sure that there was not a hydrodynamic seal happening where there was not enough clearance in between everything here. So that's where we put everything together. You saw me put the turbine side, but just the turbine was hanging on there. Then you saw, you know, the whole thing put together and then off, and we were doing some visual stuff, and Marty's looking at it, and it has all the proper clearances. Then he showed me something interesting too I did not know how to do, to see if the converter has ballooned by putting a shim on. It's already full tight, so by putting a shim on this side, if you put the cover on and it doesn't touch the shim, then this cover has ballooned. So that's interesting. Not ballooned. It appears everything is correct right here. So we're gonna see there's got to be some kind of flow problem that we're still into. So what I'm gonna do, and like I said, I am super appreciative. I know everybody's working on trying to make help, and that's what matters. When there's problems, somebody helps. The people help you out. Nobody better than Carl Rosler. Nobody better than Marty Chance. Everybody's helping out. So we're just figuring out what's going on. I'm glad I didn't put it together wrong. So that's good. And so now I'm going to put this together this way, and I'm going to put the spare transmission in and start doing some testing and try it. So I'm going to put this converter together, and then I'll have Ashley start putting the other transmission and this all back together in the car so I can go back to work. And first thing we'll do is we'll run it up on two-step, see if it comes up and comes up on two-step quicker like it used to. Play around with it and measure that measure that temperature coming out, and see if it's lower than what it was with this combination. See if it's different with this and that combination. So stay tuned. We're going to show you all that stuff later. Thanks for watching. I know it gets a little complicated, but it's pretty interesting, and you have to. This is how people learn how to do stuff, and I'm learning how this stuff works. I tell you the truth, I really don't even want to know how it works, but but hey, it is what it is. Now I am understanding more of what's all going on and how things flow and where things are moving and going. So it's all good. I'm here to teach you stuff by my expense. It's great. Have a great day.